Hey everybody, welcome back to Javo's Garage. Today we're going to be tackling the door lock motor, or actuator as they call it, on a 2006 Chrysler Town Country. Now this is going to be applicable to the years 2001 to 2007 for both your Dodge Grand Caravan and your Chrysler Town Country. And I'm going to go through this for you today and do it step by step on both the left hand and right hand side doors to give you instructions on how to do it. And hopefully I can save you a boatload of money and get your door working on your van again. So without any further ado, let's get this job going. Let's go. Removing our door panel on the driver's side sliding door is actually a pretty easy process to do. So you have a screw that's located right down inside of here, and then you basically have a series of plastic anchors, if you will, that go around the perimeter of the door that hold it in. You also have a trim piece that goes up along here, and it goes over the top of your door trim, your door panel here. Your door panel goes over the top of your handle, so you don't have to worry about this side, but you do have this side. And basically all you'll do is you'll just kind of take your fingers and get them inside of there, and I'll put my thumb on the door panel, and if you pull on it, it'll pop right out like so. It's actually pretty easy, and now that side's free. Next up, take your screw out from inside your little handle here. Some of these actually had a ashtray, funny enough, inside of there. So now once you've done that, what I'll usually do just to kind of get things started is I'll come over here and just kind of start to pop it out a little bit. There we go. And that one's came out. Now I'll open up the door, and what I want to do, and I do that all the time, it's funny enough, but when you go to open your door, just watch your little piece there, push it back. So what I'll do is I'll start here down at the bottom. I have my door panel tool. I'm trying to stay out of your way, but I'll take that and I'll just kind of work that in there like so. Let me switch to my smaller one because it fits inside of there. There we go. Now I'll get my bigger trim panel tool in there and just start to pry that out. And then I'll drop that other tool. There you go. I'm not even going to edit that out. You're just going to see it. And so now that I have it out, you'll want to give it like a quick pull, like so. And now that it's started, you can just kind of work your way along the bottom. And you'll kind of feel where it's still catching. And you'll just pop it like so. You'll come up here on the side, just like that. Now this back side can be a bit more challenging to get to because you have the door there. We have one more there. Now we'll kind of pull just like that on the top side, and the only thing you have left now is your door lock. Your knob is sticking through. You'll lift it up over that and pull your door panel out. So now these here are those retaining clips, and it's not uncommon, like you see here, for a few of them to stick inside the door. This one actually, they all came out except for that one, so we'll pull that one out of the door and put it back into the panel so it makes it easy for installation. And then, not sure if you'll be able to see this, but down inside of here is where that other screw is that's inside of there. So you have your door panel out, you can move on to the next step. To remove your passenger side sliding door, what you'll do is you'll come over here to the back side of the door, and I know the camera isn't the greatest angle on this, but I wanted you to get a closer shot of this. But there's a trim piece that overlaps it right in here, and maybe you can see it just a little bit. And basically what you'll do is you'll just kind of put your fingers in there, and then I'll put my thumb on the door panel that I'm taking out, and you'll just pull inward with it, like so. Just like that. And what that does, that overlaps it, and so now that part is clear over there. And then the rest of the panel, now you'll have a series of clips that they have, and it just pops right out. So what I'll do usually is I'm just going to open the door just a little bit, and make sure when you open the door to slide it back, that top piece, you kind of tuck it in a bit so it doesn't get caught. I think I did that on the other side there. And what I'll do is I have my two trim panel tools, and I'll just start here on the bottom, and I'll kind of work it inside of there, and you just kind of pull out a bit, and then what you'll do is you'll pop on it. You'll pull like a quick jerking motion. Let me get my hand in here. Just like that. And now once you start doing that, you're just going to work your way along the bottom, and then you'll work your way up the sides. Now the next one is about right in here. So I'm going to pull that out again. There we go. And I'm trying to be careful, by the way, because I have the trim piece out of here and I don't want to bang my hand on that metal edge and have to go get stitches. So once again, you'll pull, just a quick pulling motion. There we go. I'll now work my way up here, and it looks like as we've done it, a bunch of these have come out. So I'm up to here, and I'll just pop it. Same thing on the back side now. You're just going to kind of work your way. I'm going to see if I can't do it from the top side here. Sometimes I can do it that way as well. There we go. Let's see if we can't just work our way over. And you have your door lock here, your little knob that's sticking up, so you'll just want to kind of poke that down through the hole. There we go. Now it's giving me a little bit of room, and I'm just going to work it out. Having the door be in the position that it's in, a lot of times too, is I have to get back there with a pry bar, but sometimes you get lucky. There we go, we're getting there. We only have one left. Normally they don't fight me this much. This one's just giving me some problems. Now we're just trying to work it out. There we go. Now that we have that out, we have it out of place. So let me flip it around here. So these here are little retainers. And it looks like all of them came out with the panel up, except for one. And actually it looks like that one, which would be right in here, is missing in general. So when we put this back in, we will put that in. And I'm sure this is missing because somebody's had this panel off before to replace that door lock actuator. So now you have your passenger side sliding door panel off, and you have access to everything you need inside of here as well. So we have our door panel taken off of our passenger side sliding door, and now we're ready to get down into where the door lock actuator is. Now I've already gone ahead and peeled. It kind of came down a bit, so I'm assuming somebody's been in here before, but this here is just like a sound barrier that they put on these doors, and basically you'll peel that off. And once you do, inside of here you'll have this little piece of styrofoam. You'll just kind of pull it out and take it out of your way. Basically it kind of acts as a support, if you will. You kind of have your rod coming across here, you have your cables and your wiring, and if you follow this wiring where it ends up right here, now let me move my light a little closer. This wiring right here, this here is your door lock actuator. This here is what you're working to get to and get it replaced. Now there's two different types of wisdom, if you will, as to how to replace this. And one is to drill another hole in this panel right in here so you have access to the screw that holds this door lock actuator in, so you don't have to pull out that entire assembly. Now I've done probably 30 of these door lock actuators over the years, and I have found it in the long run to be so much easier to go ahead and remove this entire assembly, and that way you can pull it out, put your door lock actuator back in, and put it back in. It does add, honestly, it adds about 5 to 10 minutes onto your job, but in the long run it's easier because you have access to things, you can do a better job. And a lot of times if you don't get your hole lined up just right over here, now you've got another hole in your door panel, so you need to go in and you need to touch that metal up so it doesn't start rusting, or it doesn't line up right and you have a hard time getting access to it. In my opinion, don't mess with that kind of stuff. Don't rig it. Just do it once and do it right and be done with it. So the easiest way, we're going to pull this out, and let me show you how we're going to do that, and we're going to replace this door lock actuator. Now we're working on the door lock actuator on the passenger side door, but I wanted to hurry up and jump over here real quick to the driver's side door just to give you an idea. So depending on which door you're working on, at least you'd have an idea for both sides. Now we've got the panel taken off here on the driver's side, and I've already got my sound barrier pulled down a little bit. Now you'll do, they have the styrofoam thing in over here as well, and you'll just kind of pull down once again and just kind of work that out. I think they may use it for a sound barrier as well as maybe to help hold some things in, keep it from rattling. Irregardless, once you pull that out, you now have, you'll see this side, it's much easier to get to your door lock actuator actuator that's right here. It's easier. Your plug's right here, so you can press that tab in and unplug it. Now the screw on this side, they actually did give you a little bit of access with it right here. Now the funny thing is, and you gotta love engineers, as you'll see, they have this nice hole they put in there, but they made it so it lined up right at the very edge where it's going to give you some possible problems with it. So if you do have an issue with that, trying to get it lined up, putting it back in, you'll see later on in my video when I'm working on the other side, how you can just pull this entire latch mechanism out, and you can do it actually pretty fast and easy. But to do this side, and you'll see the instructions on the other side, but you'll need to remove this rod, unplug it here, and remove this screw, and you can just pop this one out and slide it back in again. Put the screw back in, put your rod back in, plug it back in, and you're good to go. But let's jump back over to the other side and let's finish that so you can actually see things in terms of detail, what it's like inside of here and what's involved. I just wanted you to get a picture to see the difference between the left-hand and right-hand side doors. First step you're going to want to do is get this rod removed right here that runs across. Let's see if I can get a better focus for you. This rod that comes across, and you'll see that little green connector right there. That, what you'll do is you end up pushing down on it because that holds the rod in, and then you just push the rod outward and it comes out of the mechanism. Let's see if I can't move in a little closer so you can get a better view of it. And there it is right there. And I'm going to try and do this with, normally it takes my thumb because you have to push down pretty hard, but let's see if we can't do it here for you. Just like that. Now you'll just pull it down and you'll see how it just popped out there. So it goes inside that little hole in there. There it is. So now it's back in the hole. Hopefully you can see it a little bit there. See how it comes in and out? So you'll just take that out and now that rod's disconnected. While we're in here and we got a good view, let's go ahead and unplug your electrical for your door lock actuator right here. And back here you have a tab on this side and you're just going to press in on that tab and then it just pulls off like that. And now you have those disconnected. So everything you need to do to be able to change that out now is disconnected. Now we only have 3 more little bolts that we need to take out, but we're going to have to pop open the door to get to those. Next step is pop open your sliding door, go to the back side of the door, and you'll see 3 bolts located right here. These use a T27 star bit or hex bit. I have my bit mounted with a short extension here onto my Milwaukee, and basically you'll just come in here and remove these. And now that entire assembly is loose on the inside. Now let's go take it out and replace our door lock actuator. So now you'll come back inside the van, bring your door back to a closed position, and what you're going to do is just kind of reach in here and just make sure your rod stays out of the way and just start taking it out like this. And now your mechanism's out. This right here, by the way, is the screw that holds in your door lock actuator right here. But let me flip this over so you can see it. There's your door lock actuator right here. So we'll take that screw out right there. Then the next thing you want to do when you put in your new door lock actuator is you want to make sure that this arm here goes over this little connecting rod that actually connects to your locking mechanism inside. So let's get our new actuator out and we'll get this one taken off and put it back together again. Now let's take our old actuator out so we can put the new one in. Here's our screw once again. This is a T15 and I just have a socket connected up here to my ratchet, and I'll go ahead and remove that like so. And then I'll show you here on the back side hopefully. And then you'll see where it's on here. So I'm basically just going to kind of lift that up so it goes over this little locking rod there and just pop that out. So now we have our door lock actuator out. I am replacing it with a Dorman door lock actuator. This is part number 746259. Hopefully you can see that. Now this particular door lock actuator will work on either your passenger side, right hand, or your left hand driver's side sliding door. What you have to do, and I'm opening this here so you can see this is fresh out of the box. You'll see they come with an extra arm. Now the white arm with the red locking mechanism is for your driver's side or your left hand slider door. And it comes with the basically just like what we have on here right now. And so the green and the black is for your right hand or passenger side. Your white is for the left hand or driver's side. And you'll see it has, like, hopefully you can see that it's got like some little teeth in there. So what you would do is you just take this screw out and you would take this piece off here and this goes back on. And basically with the design of those teeth, you can only put it on one way. So hopefully you can see that. I don't know if we're getting enough light there on it. There we go. And so you can't really do it wrong. It's pretty simplistic. They made it idiot proof, so even I can do it. And so basically, since we already have those matched up, you'll see it's got like a little catch right here. And what that does is that rides in this little groove you'll see right down in here. And you want to make sure that our opening here is going to get caught onto our locking mechanism. So what I'll do is I'll take that little tab and kind of go ahead and, let me try and do this with my hand out of the way. And I'll just kind of set that in there and it's on place. Now we want to make sure we're over our locking mechanism, and you'll just kind of work that in, and just like that. And if we look over here, see, now we're not completely on our tab. So what we want to do, let me move my hand again out of the way. There we go. And so now we have our tabs are locked in place where they should be here, our tab down here, up here, and over here. So everything is locked into place, and when we flip it over onto this side, we see we have it in here, so we're good to go. So now what we need to do is come back over here and put our screw back in. Let me show you how to take this Dorman door lock actuator and make it work for your driver's side. Now, right now, currently, it's set up for your passenger or right-hand side, and I'll show you how to do it. And I'm going to try and bring this in a little bit closer, and I don't know if it's going to see it for you. But there'll be a little arrow on here. Let me take my light off. There's an arrow located on here, and you'll see there's an arrow on this particular arm. Now this here is the arm that's for the driver's side, and hopefully you can see that there's a little arrow there at the bottom on that. Basically, in the end, you want those to match up. Now to do this, what you'll do is, this here is just a Phillips head. You'll just take your Phillips head screwdriver and you'll take that screw out, and then just lift this off. I have to wiggle it. There you go. And hopefully you can see that the gears are set up so you can only put these arms on one particular way, but it just helps to know what the arrow that's on here versus the arrow on there as to what the lineup is. So I'll take that one off, and I'll take this one, and I'll line up my arrows like so, and now I'm just going to gently push down on it. And then all I do is I just take my screw, put it back in there, and then tighten it back down again. Don't go crazy tightening this stuff down. You're dealing with plastic parts here. You just want it to be nice and snug is the best way to put it. Just like that. So now this is ready to be installed in the driver's side door. So anyway, so I'll just kind of start to hand feed my screw back into the mounting hole there. Like so. And now I'll go ahead and just drive it in. Now, I use this a lot, so I know how to do it. You don't want to over tighten this. This is plastic. So you just want it to be snug. Just like that, just enough to hold it in. And now we'll go ahead and we're going to place our mechanism here back inside the door. And let's move to the back side. And if you'll see, I kind of have it set where it would kind of generally go. And if you do it right, just like that, it's going to set. And now we can move to the back side of the door and we'll go ahead and start putting the screws back in. Your job's done. So you're on the back side of the motor now. So what I'll usually do a lot of times is I'm just going to reach my one hand in and kind of lift up. You'll see it. And you want to get your child door lock knob back through there. And once I get one hole to line up, and it looks like I got one up here, I'll go ahead and just put one of my bolts in. And at least now it's going to generally hold it in place. Then I'll get my other two here. And now that it's generally in place, I can go ahead and start feeding my other bolts back into the mechanism, into the latch. There we go. And if you'll, I'm not sure if you can see it too well, but the bottom one's still not lined up real well, so I can just kind of reach in. You'll see I can just move it a bit, line that up. Tighten this back down. And now I'll get my ratchet in this case, tighten those back up. You don't have to torque these down, by the way, just get them tight. You'll see I wait till it hits and then I'll give it like maybe an 1/8 of a turn, if that. So there we go. We're connected back on this side. Let's go back inside. We'll reconnect our rod and our wiring, and you've changed out your door lock actuator. So you go back inside, bring your door back. Now you'll take that rod, put it back into that little green retainer in there, and there's a hole in there, and you'll just feel it slide in there. And sometimes you may have to work it a second till you feel it slide, but you want to make sure it slides in there properly. There we go. Oh, no. See, even with me who's done this a lot, sometimes it takes a second, because now you're kind of doing it by hand or by feel, and you'll feel it just kind of go into that hole. And once it does, it'll just slide right into place like so. And then you'll just lift up and you'll hear it click like that. And now you know you're done there. Now you'll take your electrical, plug it back in, and your job's done. You've done this. Now, I want to make a couple of important points here for you. Now, this is not a power sliding door. If you have a power sliding door, you're going to have another wiring harness that goes to your hinge system here, or your latch, I'm sorry. And what you'll want to do when you start this job is unplug all your electrical and then plug it all back in when you're completely done. The other thing that's important is when you unplug it, if your door is in the closed position when you unplug all your electrical, then make sure when you plug your electrical back in that it's back in the closed position again. That's only if you have the power sliding doors, because otherwise your computer system is going to it messes up with its calibration because it's at a different point when you plug it back in than where it was before. So what I always try and do, and that doesn't always cause an issue, but I have had that before. So what I'll do is if I'm going to unplug it, either do it with the door open and then make sure the door is open again when you go to plug everything back in. But if you're going to do it while the door's closed, make sure the door is closed when you plug everything back in again, so that way it's right back to where it was when you unplugged it. It just eliminates any possible issues. So with that being done now, all you need to do is put your phone piece back in. You'll mount your sound barrier back up, and then go ahead and put your door panel back in, and you're good to go. You've changed out your door lock. Hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions, post them down below. If this video has been helpful to you, please hit that like button for me. And if you'd like to see more how-to videos in the future, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.